wow, my culture's way more ingrained into me than I thought. Yeah, this is one of those culture shocks no one prepares you for.
So, interesting question. What time do you guys normally have breakfast? What time do you guys normally have lunch? What time do you guys normally have dinner? I know those all sounded very weird and random, but this is very relevant. We've done a ton of culture shock comparisons when Americans travel abroad and get absolutely mind blown at things that aren't really normal for them in their own country when they travel to other countries. One of the things that I've noticed, and it's just a small thing, we're gonna be going over a variety in this video, is the times that people eat. Now, we can say in Europe, everybody eats after 11 at night. That's not true. The times vary, obviously, which is why I ask you guys, what time do you guys normally eat breakfast? What times do you guys normally eat lunch? What times do you guys normally have dinner? So obviously there are a multitude of things that we always get mind blown by, especially in my case when I traveled through the threshold of Europe and landed in Germany. I noticed a few things that blew my mind, especially eating times. That was a real big thing for me. And in this video, we're gonna be going over tons of Americans that have entered Europe and they've had various different types of culture shocks, wild experiences, things that may have made their lives a little interesting to say the least. But one good thing that I have noticed is a lot of American tourists, when we do travel to other countries, we like to adapt to the situation we're in eventually, and we bring those habits back with us to the United States, thus inducing a reverse culture shock. We realize our country has a lot of very interesting isms to it. So anyways, if you guys are new to the channel, welcome. If you guys are returning viewers, welcome back. Please, 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 help us hit 1 million subscribers by liking the video and subscribing if you haven't already.
Have you ever been speaking with someone of a different nationality and realized, wow, my culture's way more ingrained into me than I thought? Yeah, this is one of those culture shocks no one prepares you for. I'm an American living in Spain, and I know that I've always been an American at heart, but something that I did not realize has so deeply enrooted itself into my being has been eating schedules. Because something nobody prepares you for as an American if you're thinking of coming to Spain is how seriously they take their eating schedules. And something that they tell you is that Spanish people eat late, but what they do not tell you, eating late is a non-negotiable. I don't know, maybe I'm a grandma at heart, but for me, late is 10 p.m. Out here, going out early is 10 p.m. I have friends that say, hey, do you want to go out to dinner? And I say, yeah, of course. I'm set on the American schedule, so I think dinner is at 6 p.m. They say, okay, great, we're all meeting at 11. 11. Honey, my teeth are brushed, my PJs are on, and I'm ready to go to bed at 11.
See, this is exactly what I was talking about. My friends acted the same exact way. So when I told my friend that I stayed over his house and stuff like that when I was a kid, I was like, 5:30 seems a little early, you know? Does that not seem early to you? And he's like, dude, what time do you have dinner? And I'm like, I have dinner at 11 p.m. And his jaw almost hit the floor. He's like, your parents are starving you. What is wrong with you? So any Americans watching this, what time do you guys normally have dinner? I feel like this question varies a lot. This probably varies a lot for all of my Europeans watching this video as well, from all the different countries and whatnot, because again, I would think that a median time for dinner would pretty much be like 8 p.m. to like 9-ish, maybe 10 p.m., but I could have it wrong.
You come at me in the comments, I love it here. I'm not trying to shit on anyone's culture, but this is an ick. And the ick doesn't come from the fact that they stay out late, but the ick comes in the form that they are not flexible at all when it comes to times. In the US, if I want to have dinner earlier or later, people are flexible. If I want to go out earlier or later, people are flexible. You try to tell a Spanish person that you want to have dinner at 6 p.m., they deport you right then and there. It's a non-negotiable. You eat dinner at 9 p.m. or later. And I don't know, if you're a Spanish person watching this, let me know why this is.
The irremovable schedule. That sounds like Germany. Germany operates very similarly too. Maybe not as far as eating schedules go, but dang near pretty much for anything else in regards to schedules, right? If there's a set time, you need to be there or be square, and they will make sure you are squared the hell up if you do not show up on time. That's what this kind of reminded me of, because again, when I traveled to Germany, I'm like, whoa, like people are really serious about this schedule stuff. They're like, hey, we're meeting here at this time. We're doing this thing at this time. We're not moving the schedule. We're not moving the times. Now, I think a big difference though, and this is why a lot of you guys probably say you can't say all of Europe, because Europe's a continent and all the countries are wildly different, right? In many ways. I do think that Germany can be flexible in regards to like the Germans being very flexible with times that they establish. But once the time is established, like, hey, we're eating at this time, it's immovable. You need to show up at that time and that's it. Now, it seems like in Spain, all of these things are ingrained and set in stone from the start. So everybody shows up at this place at this time, and if you can't make it, whoa, you're gonna have a rough time. There might be a variant of flexibility there somewhere, and I have no idea where it's located, but That's why I'm asking you guys, because it's something that I know us Americans are not really used to, especially since we love adapting to different things. Sometimes we don't, which is what a bulk of my videos are, obviously. The rest of us, we do like to adapt, at least with eating schedules. Like I said, on average, a lot of Americans eat around 5:30 to 6 p.m., but we can move those times. I mean, we could eat whenever. I'm willing to drink at 11 p.m., but a whole meal just sounds heavy. Now, I think this depends on a variety of things. I'm different. I work night shift. So typically, right, I work from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., which means I'm awake from the very late part of the night to the wee early parts of the morning, which means I'm tired right now. And after this video, I'm going straight to sleep. My schedule has me asleep during the sunny hours of the day. As you can see, the backdrop behind me is very sunny outside. It's early in the morning. I'm going to sleep soon. So in those cases, I actually prefer to eat right after my work. So dinner for me would be in the next hour or so. But for most of you guys and most of the people worldwide, people would be having breakfast. Having a drink after 11 p.m., I don't know. For me, I day drink. I'll drink during the day on the weekends and stuff, because the daytime for myself is like nighttime in comparison to a person who works a normal day shift schedule, if that makes sense. So I thought to myself, the comment about the heavy meal makes sense if you were on a day shift schedule, but I'm on a night shift schedule. So a heavy meal for me would be eating a meal before I go to sleep, like in the morning. You know what I mean? If I ate a meal in the morning directly before I went to sleep, like a big meal, then yeah, that'd be pretty rough. So typically I would have like my last meal maybe 3 hours before I go to sleep. So maybe like 3 in the morning or something. The USA is on a corporate schedule. Wake up early and work. Or school. And this is very true. I mean, me going to school when I was younger and stuff, right? School would start at 6 a.m. and it would end at 3 p.m. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. That's a full work shift of school activities and stuff like that. And that translates into the workforce. A lot of jobs start between 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. and they end between like 3 p.m.-ish to 5, maybe even 6 p.m.-ish. I'm so confused. So what time do they go to sleep? 3 a.m.? And that's a very good question. Now we open up another question to all of my viewers watching this. What time do you guys go to sleep on average? For the people who have late dinners, what time do you guys go to sleep? I can tell you that I was in bed by 1 a.m. when I had dinner at 11 at night. Okay. I had dinner at 11 at night, would be in bed by 1 a.m. Let me know if that sounds like something that's similar to you guys. If it's not, and you guys go to bed way earlier and have dinner way earlier, please let me know, because this is just something like interesting to connect on. Because obviously, like, I assumed that everybody had dinner at earlier times and I was the outlier. I don't think it's because they're not flexible. I think it has to do with the way their work school days are and what times they're able to eat lunch. I didn't even think to ask that. I mean, I kind of asked that. It was embedded in a lot of my other questions, but what time do you guys eat lunch too? Because again, in the United States, we eat lunch at 12 p.m. I'd even say between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. That's kind of like the lunch window. Now, we don't take lunches that long, but like your lunch will range between those hours. So you might be able to leave work for 20 minutes and grab something real quick. They give you an allotment of like, okay, cool. You can leave between these times, go grab your lunch, but you need to be right back at work within 20 minutes of eating. So again, if that sounds like something that's similar or familiar to you guys, let me know in the comments down below. I work nights in the US and I can't even find somewhere open at 11 p.m. to get food. I also think this is a huge case of where you're located and whatnot, because I lived in a city and things were always open at night, but I get what this individual saying, because I currently work night shift as well, but I also live in South Korea. So there are plenty of places that are open after 11 p.m. A lot of them are bars and clubs though, so that's a different story. I studied in the Netherlands, and European culture is way less flexible than ours. For the Netherlands, it's lunch at exactly 12 p.m. I feel like throughout Europe, the schedules are very like fixated, like with little to no wiggle room in a lot of cases. At least that's the perception us Americans have when we travel over there, because we are pretty flexible in the United States. People aren't going to outright tell you you can't adjust your schedule for whatever reason. They're pretty understanding and stuff like that. I do feel like it's just different throughout Europe, and it depends on the country. But again, if I'm wrong, please pack my ass up in the comments.
Hi guys, I thought it would be fun to do a video about the culture shocks that I've gotten from moving from Georgia in the United States to Germany.
This should be interesting because both places are wildly polar opposites, at least in my opinion. I've been to Georgia, I've also been to Germany, and I've been all over Germany too. I want to emphasize that when people like hear me say this over and over again, dang near in every single video, when I visited Germany, it wasn't just like the highly trafficked areas, right? I made sure I visited areas that were far less popular than what most Americans would travel to. Because I knew off the rip that Munich, Berlin, Hamburg, even Cologne to a degree. We're like very popular tourist destinations for a lot of Americans. So I'm like, let me switch it up a little bit.
First one being, on Sundays, nothing is open. Everything is closed except for some gas stations. You can find some that are open.
So I've talked about this a plethora of times on my channel, but this is going to be something that absolutely always, for Americans who have never traveled at all, always bother Americans. Nothing's open on Sundays in Germany. And not nothing, if you want to get technical, there are some places that are open. You can go to airports, you can go to kiosks and stuff, and those will be open, but everything else is closed on Sundays. And there are so many times where I would wake up, it was Sunday, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so hungry. I can't wait for this restaurant to open up, or I can't wait for this spot to open up. And I realize, I'm like, wait a minute, it's Sunday. Nothing's open.
Mainly everything is closed, which is so different because on Sundays, that was like your errand run, you go to the grocery store. Nope, not here. You stay inside and you do whatever you need to do at home, which is why I look the way I look, because it's Sunday. Another thing is the grocery stores. It is like a race because they don't give you bags to bag your food. You bring your own bag. And when they are scanning things, they are going so fast, and you have to match their speed by putting your things in the bag. And if you're too slow, they'll just sit there and stare at you and just make you feel stupid. So I love that. Another thing about the grocery stores is everything's pretty cheap here and everything's healthier. Like they don't have anything that has red 40 or any like things that could potentially give you cancer.
That is one thing I absolutely adored. All right. She mentioned another thing prior to that as well. And it was like the bringing your own bags to grocery stores and whatnot. That was something that initially, and it wasn't when I got to Germany, it's when I started reacting to German culture content a long time ago. I was like, wait a minute. So you guys don't have grocery baggers in Germany? And then everybody in the comment section, it didn't matter if they were from Germany, Spain, France, everybody from all over Europe's like, James, you can't bag your own groceries? Are you a big old infant? And I'm like, you know what? You're right. Let me go ahead and start bagging my own groceries. And so, you know, it wasn't a bad experience. In fact, now I prefer it. I love bagging my own stuff, and having baggers is interesting. I think my perspective on baggers has changed because that's a whole job career field in the United States. You go to the grocery store, you buy your stuff, you put it through the conveyor belt, and then somebody at the end bags your groceries. And I was used to that, but now I'm like, I don't know, man. I know it's there for convenience to expedite the process so they can get to the next person behind you, but I prefer doing it myself because also in Germany, there's this whole, like she said, very efficient thing where like they will yell at you if you do not bag your groceries fast enough. So it's not like you're wasting the person behind you's time. Everybody is in and out like a thief in the night.
Cancer, it is completely banned over here. So no M&Ms, no, nope. Another thing that was kind of odd to me is people don't wear the like leggings or gym clothes outside of the gym. And if you do, you will definitely get stared at, and it will not be in a good way. But people go to the gym in like work clothes, and then they change into their gym clothes, and then they take a shower at the gym and put their work clothes back on.
I noticed this too, and I was like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Listen, I'll go to the gym in my gym clothes and I will leave and shower when I get home. Sometimes I'll shower at the gym and get changed there. That's also totally fine. But usually I go to the gym in my gym clothes. I saw that in Germany and I didn't think anything of it too much. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I mean, it's preference, right? Because I have seen people do that in the States as well, depending on where you're at, where people will go to the gym in their like business attire, they'll change real quick, and then they'll work out, and then they'll take a shower, change into like their work stuff again and go to work. But I think it's more of a convenience thing because if you're already in your gym clothes, you don't have to change out of your stuff. So you shorten the process. You just arrive in the gym in your gym clothes, you work out real quick, you already have a change of clothes with you, you shower at the gym, change into your clean clothes, and then you go to work. I think that's efficient. If you don't think that's efficient, please let me know in the comments down below. What would you do for all my gym goers and stuff like that? Do you show up to the gym in your casual wear and change when you get to the gym? Or do you show up to the gym in your workout attire with your gym bag and then just take a shower and change over to your casual wear after you're done working out?
You do not wear workout clothes outside of the gym. I still do it because I don't care and it's comfortable, but I do get stared at, but it's fine. I've got asked many times if the German stare is real. 100%. Yes, that is completely accurate.
You know, it's funny too. A lot of Germans will get combative over this. They're like, German stare? What are you talking about? I don't stare. And I'm like, all right, bet. I'm going to go to Germany with some Ray-Ban Meta glasses on and I'm going to walk around and you guys will... And it's not malicious, right? It's not anything malicious. You guys like staring, like people watching. I love people watching. You know, the difference is in Chicago, if I stared too long, I wouldn't even be here telling you this story. I'd be dead.
Stare is real. That people here hold eye contact so well, and they just stare at you. I don't know what they are staring at. They're probably either judging you or they're not. Like, I don't know, but they love to stare.
I do feel like after traveling a bit back and forth to Germany, both can be true. When you're being stared at, yes, people could be judging you, but also people could just be curious. But one of the most diabolical things I think I've ever seen in Germany is when we got on the trains, right? The way the trains were arranged, I have never seen anything like it before. In some situations I have, but it was different. Let me explain. In most places that I've been to, at least, the train seating faces one direction. Now, sometimes you'll have the seating arrangement faced like towards each other, but you usually book all of those together as a group. So everybody that knows each other sits next to each other, what have you. Well, in Germany, obviously you can book a seat and each seat is different, right? Like I could sit like across from a random stranger, whatever. And we do have seating arrangements like that in the States. So typically if you're sitting in a seat that has somebody across from you that you don't know, you just don't look at them. Not out of like fear, but just out of respect. Like, cool, like let me not stare them down, whatever. Bro, in Germany, it's like a staring competition. They sit down, it's like they press a button or something and they look at each other like this, directly across from them. And I'm like, whoa, what the fuck? Because it happened to me, bro. I was sitting down and I'm like, all right, cool. I didn't know anybody that was sitting around next to me and stuff on the Deutsche Bahn. And I like, I'm like looking at my phone and I look up and I'm locking eyes with this lady and I'm like, whoa, okay. And I looked away and I'm like, okay. And I looked back and then boom, still like, I felt like Superman's heat vision burning through my skull. And I'm like, oh my God.
Another little small culture shock is everybody smokes cigarettes here. It is so normal for just everybody to smoke cigarettes. If you go outside to like the mall or anything, people will be outside like lined on the streets just smoking cigarettes.
This is in fact true. I've never seen that many people in my life smoke straight up cigarettes, not vapes, cigarettes. And I came back, I made a whole video on it and people were like, James, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, my eyes didn't deceive me though. It was like every other person was smoking. And I'm like, God dang, bro, it's like the 50s in this motherfucker. Like, it was crazy. If y'all like smoking and stuff. Generally speaking, your lifestyle is healthier than the average American, so you live longer. But I was just like, dang, bro, like, oh my God. And I know I have a ton of people that don't smoke at all. And they're like, James, well, I never smoked. I'm like, yeah, that's totally fine. But it seemed like it was so many people that there was a smell in the air, at least in the major cities. But even in the towns that I visited, people were smoking quite a bit.
But I mean, that's just a small one. Another big thing is everything is smaller here. The roads, I have not seen a road that is bigger than 3 to 4 lanes. Another thing with the roads is there is not really many trucks here. So back in Georgia, like there's, these big trucks with the big wheels and everything. Not here. Because if you had one of those trucks, you wouldn't be able to drive it because the roads on like through the towns are literally this small.
Another thing she probably won't mention though, that is a wild difference between Georgia and Germany is how the police interact with you on roads. Right? In Germany, if you're driving fast, German cops will pull you over. They might give you a ticket. They might talk to you, kind of like how they do in most states in the United States as well, except for Georgia. Georgia State Police. GSP, remember the name. They will pit maneuver you for not pulling over fast enough. You have about 2 seconds to pull over immediately when those lights turn on, or they will pit maneuver you. Because they don't play. They are the only police department, I believe, in the United States that is authorized to pit maneuver for the love of the game. They don't like you. They want your car because your car looks too nice. They will pit maneuver you. Let's say you were bloodthirsty on meeting God early, right? Travel to Georgia, drive over the speed limit, and you'll see a "you died" screen. They don't play, brother. I'm telling you, it's a big problem. So what she was saying, though, about the smaller roads in Germany, I got to witness that myself. There are not a lot of trucks, which was interesting. Another thing that I played this clip all the time in my videos, a clip of me on the Autobahn with Thomas and Julian Bam's team.
Oh my God. That's incredible. You guys could just go crazy like on this road.
It was really cool. But what was terrifying to me was, I mean, how fast you can go on that Autobahn, but also how narrow each lane was. Like the lanes are definitely noticeably more narrow than they are in the United States. And I guess I understand kind of why, but if you guys have a better explanation as to why those roads are narrow like that, I heard it was because the roads were built like as an afterthought, right? I mean, Europe in general is very old. So like roads being constructed for cars did not come until much, much later.
So while driving here, there is some roads and highways and stuff that do not have a speed limit. You can go from 130 kilometers to 400 or however fast your car wants to go, which is very different because if we had that back at home, people would definitely abuse that. Another thing that is a little like different, I've never seen it before anywhere, is you have to pay to use the bathroom at some places. I went to a restaurant a couple weeks ago and had to go use the restroom, and I had to pay like 50 cents. And then in like the train stations, you have to pay like €1 to €2 to use the bathroom, which is just so insane. But yeah. My last, like another big culture shock is I used to take sunshine for granted. Here, the sun never shines. And so when it does, you will see everybody outside. Like everybody is walking, everybody is doing something outside because in the winter and most of the time, the sky is dull. It is so gray and just not very pretty weather.
That last part she mentioned is very real. I've never seen a group of people take advantage of good weather so quickly in my entire life. Of course, there are a plethora of really bad, gloomy, dark days throughout Germany, right? But the second you have even a sliver of sunlight, everybody busts out the picnic blankets, snacky snacks. Those parks are filled to the brim. Let me say that again. Those parks are filled to the brim. Every park in a nearby 100-mile radius or 100-kilometer radius is filled to the brim, even if it's only for a few hours, because you do not know when you'll get good weather again. You know what I mean? It is, it's not rare, but the bad weather is very common. So people are very quick to take advantage of that. Another thing too, to kind of piggyback off what she was saying, a ton of people really appreciate the outdoors. Like I have never seen that many people just like out and about, hiking, walking, socializing outside, just like really enjoying the elements, carefree, you know? That was very refreshing. And I think there were a multitude of reasons why that felt refreshing for me, because I know in the States, we have a safety issue, people crashing out, shooting up places, whatever. That's the first thing. But then the second thing too is a lot of people, we have this individualistic mindset. So yes, while people do hang out in ones and twos, you typically don't see a whole lot of people like congregating together, like in a big posse, right? So that was something that was really cool and neat that I noticed and whatnot. People are very active too. Like outside of walks, people bike all over the place. They use the hell out of those bike lanes. Let me tell you something. And I got to use them too, which was super cool. So tons of very valid culture shocks that any American who has never been to Germany will always experience traveling there for the first time. But you can buy M&Ms in Germany? Unpopular opinion, I hate M&Ms. Ew. Gross. No M&Ms, no leggings. Girl, where in Germany do you live? What's people's obsession with M&Ms? M&Ms are disgusting, yo. They taste like vomit. I don't really fuck with M&Ms like that. Now, the leggings thing, I don't know. If y'all like leggings, cool. But like M&Ms, ew, gross. A hot take. I hate milk chocolate. But I probably made some enemies saying that. As a German, those are very valid. I'm telling you, man, those are some very interesting culture shocks that, again, any American would have a little bit of a rough time or a confusing time adapting to. You know what I mean? As a visitor, yeah, it'd be like, whoa, that's kind of strange. Now, as a person who's living in Germany, that's also going to be a little different too. As a person traveling from the United States and, you know, moving to Germany to live there for a long time, it'll take a little bit to settle in, especially the housing culture shocks. And that's an entirely different ballpark right there. But yeah, eventually you get the hang of it and, you know, you move on like anything else. So Aldi really is a German experience. Absolutely. You know, it's funny, for a long time when I was little, I thought Aldi was an American store. And I went to Germany, I'm like, they got Aldi's here too? Dang, it looks like America's doing really good, man. That's crazy. They're like, dude, Aldi is literally a German company. What are you talking about? What are you even talking about? Stores are closed on Sundays, but everything else is open. And of course you can buy M&Ms and all sorts of unhealthy stuff in supermarkets. Very few people smoke cigarettes, actually. 400 kilometers per hour is ridiculous too. If you are staying at a restaurant, you do not have to pay for the bathroom. Sometimes you can leave a tip if you want to. Please stop spreading misinformation. What the the fuck? She obviously triggered somebody because I got a whole lot of things to debunk right here. There was a lot said. Let's start off with the 400 kilometers an hour, 400 km/h. First of all, maybe you can drive that fast if there truly is no speed limit on the Autobahn, but typically I don't think people go that fast. Some people do. Some people do. I think the fastest, like the fastest person on the Autobahn, I think was like 400 and something km/h, which was diabolical. Okay, that's not normal. That's not normal. Now people do be going over 500 km/h. That's a different thing. But like they don't really boom over 300 like that. You know what I mean? Some people do, some people don't. It varies. But the cigarettes thing, I'm telling you, I had been fighting people like I was in like my fourth Lord of the Rings war, right? Yes, y'all smoke a lot. Y'all smoke a lot. That's not a big deal. If you smoke a lot, you smoke a lot. Now, you guys watching my video, you might not smoke a lot, but from an outsider visiting a country for the first time, Germany in particular, and you know, it was like so obvious that it didn't matter where I traveled, that was the hot commodity. Everybody was smoking like they were like pirates or something, dog. They were smoking like they were chimneys everywhere. And I'm not exaggerating. That was, if you go back to my early videos of me like talking about the culture shocks I experienced in Germany, that was one of the biggest ones. They were smoking like it was the 50s. Now listen, if you aren't aware of that, that's one thing, but to say it doesn't happen, diabolical. All right. Again, not everybody smokes, right? Just like not every German drinks beer. Not every German does a lot of things, right? Not every German has the German stare. You know what I mean? And in restaurants and stuff, the commenter was kind of right, but also kind of wrong. Yes, you don't really have to pay for the bathroom if you're already in a restaurant. However, I have been in restaurants in Germany where they did still make me pay to go to the bathroom. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I think it just depends on the restaurant too. Is there another Germany? Because almost everything you said was wrong. I mean, I felt like most of what she said was pretty on point. Now, obviously it's anecdotal, so not everyone's going to have the same experience. Like some of the things she mentioned, I didn't have as much of an experience. Like her saying that she couldn't buy M&Ms and blah, blah, blah. You gotta go to the right place for that, right? Like, I mean, every store I'm pretty sure has a candy section where you can buy that. I never saw that was an issue at all, right? Definitely buy unhealthy food for sure. But yeah, again, everybody's experience is different, which is why when we talk about our culture shocks, there are some that will overlap that are hot commodities, like every American on the Autobahn, every American realizing that the stores are closed on Sundays, things like that. But then there's other things that are more like niche and stuff like that. It just depends on the person, the area, whatever. Like one thing that's more niche for myself when I got to Germany, that was a massive culture shock, which it was me like interacting with other YouTubers. I met a bunch of YouTubers in Germany, right? And so my whole experience in Germany at that point became entirely different because their mindsets were entirely different. They were like all entrepreneurs. They all had teams and stuff. And I was like, oh my God. And they all worked their butts off, right? They were very highly motivated individuals. And they had a very strict schedule, very like, you know, intense system, but they were also very open-minded. Like all of the content creators I met in Germany were some of the most open-minded people I've ever met in my entire life. Like, yes, they had some of the other traditional German like isms to them and whatnot, which was also really cool. But like ultimately they were all the outliers of Germany. I feel like they were all the people that are like, oh yeah, like anything is possible. You just have to make it happen, blah, 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 blah. And that was really refreshing because it almost seemed like it was like a bit of an American mentality. You know what I mean? Like the sky is the limit as long as you like, you know, shoot for the stars, da, 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 whatever. That was cool. That was cool. But again, that was an anecdotal experience for myself personally. I can't take that and apply it to other people. As a German, yes, you are 100% right. So it seems like this comment section is split. So I'll turn it over to you guys. Do you think what you said aligns with what you've seen out there in Germany? Yay or nay?